The stars trembled as the HFY warships cut through space. Admiral Krax stood on the bridge of his flagship, his scaled skin reflecting the light of a dying sun. 300 years had passed since the mysterious disappearance of humans from the galaxy, and in that time, the HFY had risen from their harsh desert world to become the most feared species among the stars. The Nebulon system refuses to surrender, Admiral, reported Commander Vex, her claws clicking against the metal console. Krax's yellow eyes narrowed. Then they will serve as an example to others. Prepare the planet killer. No one questioned the order. The HFY had conquered 12 systems in the past cycle alone. Their philosophy was simple. The strong rule, the weak serve or perish. It was the natural law of their homeworld applied to the stars. Across the galaxy, on the peaceful agricultural world of Thelius, historian Zeal carefully preserved ancient records in the Great Library. His six-fingered hands moved delicately over fragile data crystals containing stories from before the HFY rose to power. "Professor, I found another reference to the Earth humans," said his young assistant Mira. Her antenna twitched with excitement. Zeal smiled. "Ah, the sleeping giants. Just stories, I'm afraid. But what if they're real? The records say they had thousands of ships. Ships that vanished 3 centuries ago," Zeal reminded her. "Along with their homeworld coordinates. If humans ever existed, they're gone now." A loud alarm blared through the library. Mira's green skin paled. HFY ships entering the system. On the Galactic Alliance station orbiting Centauri Prime, Ambassador Rin addressed the Emergency Council. The elegant avian's feathers were ruffled with distress. "Nebulon has fallen. 3 billion lives lost," he announced. The chamber erupted in fearful whispers. "The HFY fleet will reach Thelius within days, and our defenses cannot stop them." "We should negotiate," suggested the Voltan representative, his gelatinous form quivering. "The HFY do not negotiate," Rin replied. "They only understand dominance. Our intelligence suggests they plan to conquer all systems within the Orion Arm by the next solar cycle." General Pax, a sturdy reptilian from the militaristic Dracon worlds, slammed his fist on the table. "My fleet stands ready, but we are outnumbered. If all remaining Alliance worlds combined forces—" "It wouldn't be enough," interrupted Admiral Lorna, her cybernetic eye glowing blue. "Their technology has advanced too quickly. Someone is helping them." In the darkness of deep space, far from the conflict, an automated beacon suddenly activated on a small monitoring station. The ancient device had stood silent watch for centuries, programmed to detect specific energy signatures. Its sudden awakening sent ripples of data across the emergency channels, unnoticed by most in the chaos of war. Most, but not all. In a hidden base on the edge of charted space, Dr. Ilara Jin monitored the quantum communications array. Half Philian, half something else, she had dedicated her life to a myth. When the signal appeared on her screen, her hands trembled. "It's happening," she whispered, translating the old Earth code. "They're out there." As the HFY fleet descended upon Thelius, historian Zeal hurriedly copied the most precious archives. "Take this," he told Mira, handing her a small crystal. "Find Dr. Jin on Proxima Station. Tell her the beacon has activated." "What beacon?" Mira asked, confused. Zeal smiled sadly. The humans had a contingency plan. They didn't all disappear. Some went to sleep, waiting for when they would be needed most. The library shook as the first bombardment began. Admiral Krax watched the bombardment of Thelius with satisfaction. Another world would soon kneel before the HFY Empire. Nothing could stop their expansion now. He didn't notice the small signal that flashed briefly on a forgotten console, a response to the ancient beacon coming from deep in uncharted space, from a place where giants slept. About to wake, deep in the void of uncharted space, the massive colony ship U.S. Endeavour floated silently. Its huge metal hull was scarred from centuries of micrometeor impacts. Inside, 10,000 humans slept in cryostasis chambers, arranged in neat rows like a field of glass coffins. The ship's artificial intelligence, ARIA, had maintained minimum life support for nearly 300 years. Her voice, unused for centuries, suddenly activated in the main control room. Emergency power fluctuation detected in Sector 7, initiating revival protocol for essential personnel. Frost melted from one of the cryopods. The vital signs monitor beeped as it detected a rising heart rate. John Mercer, security chief of the Endeavour, opened his eyes for the first time in 297 years. He gasped, his lungs burning as they remembered how to breathe. His fingers, stiff from centuries of stillness, gripped the edges of the pod. "Welcome back, Security Chief Mercer," Aria's calm voice said. "Please proceed with caution. Your muscles will require approximately 20 minutes to regain full functionality." John's voice cracked as he spoke. "Aria, how long?" "You have been in cryostasis for 297 years, 4 months, and 17 days. John cursed under his breath. The mission was supposed to last 50 years at most. He slowly sat up, wincing at the pain in his joints. "Why am I awake? Where are we?" "We are currently in uncharted space, approximately 2,700 light-years from our intended destination. I have awakened you due to critical power fluctuations affecting the Cryo Bay systems." John managed to stand on shaky legs. The ship was eerily quiet except for the hum of ancient machinery. Emergency lights cast a soft blue glow along the corridors as he made his way to the command deck. The ship's displays showed decades of automated repairs and course corrections. Something had forced them off course early in their journey. Aria had been keeping everyone alive while trying to find a safe haven. "We need to wake the captain," John said, reviewing the ship's status. Multiple systems were running on backup power, and strange energy readings appeared on the long-range scanners. Within hours, Captain Olivia Reeves and Chief Engineer Frank Dawson stood beside John on the bridge, wrapped in thermal blankets as their bodies adjusted to being awake again. 300 years, Olivia whispered, looking at the unfamiliar star patterns on the main screen. "Everyone we knew is gone." Frank was checking the engine diagnostics. "The fusion reactors are operating at 38% efficiency. It's a miracle Aria kept us alive this long. I detected a cosmic anomaly 294 years ago," Aria explained. "To avoid destruction, I altered course and initiated deep space protocols. The anomaly damaged several key systems, including the navigation array." "Can we repair it?" Olivia asked. "With time," Frank replied. "But we'll need more hands." John pointed to a blinking light on the scanner. "Aria, what's that?" "I am detecting artificial signals consistent with advanced civilization. Based on the signal patterns, there appear to be multiple species communicating across this sector of space." The three humans looked at each other in shock. The Endeavour had been launched before humans had made contact with any intelligent alien life. "Show me," Olivia ordered. The main screen displayed a complex network of communication signals spanning dozens of star systems. In some areas, the signals were strong. In others, they had disappeared entirely. "There's something else," Aria said. "I recently detected a signal matching old Earth emergency protocols. It appears someone activated an ancient human beacon." "That's impossible," John said. Unless some humans were already out here," Olivia finished. "Or they followed us." Frank pointed to a cluster of rapidly moving objects on the long-range scanner. "Captain, we've got company. Multiple vessels approaching this sector." Olivia straightened her shoulders, the instincts of command returning despite centuries of sleep. "ARIA, begin revival procedures for essential personnel." "John, prep the security teams." "Frank, I need weapons and shields." After 300 years of silence, humanity was about to announce its return to the galaxy. Science Officer Kate Powell stood at her station on the Endeavour's bridge, her fingers dancing across the ancient console. More cryopods had been activated, bringing their awake crew count to 23. Kate had been analyzing the alien signals for hours. "Captain, I think I've cracked their communication methods," she said, brushing a strand of red hair from her face. "Araya helped me build a translation matrix based on mathematical patterns." Captain Olivia nodded from her command chair. "What are they saying?" "Most of it is distress signals. There's a war happening out there." Kate's eyes widened as new data streamed across her screen. "Captain, one of the vessels is approaching us directly. It appears to be damaged." The main view screen showed a sleek silver ship limping through space, trailing debris and leaking what looked like plasma from its engines. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Ben Harris reported. "Audio only." "Put it through," Olivia ordered. A strange voice filled the bridge, speaking in a fluid language of clicks and soft tones. Araya's translation followed seconds later. "Unknown vessel, we seek sanctuary. We are refugees from the Thelian system, fleeing Xorethi forces. Our life support is failing. Please respond." Olivia glanced at Security Chief John Mercer, who stood tensely by the weapons console. "Could be a trap," he warned. Frank Dawson entered the bridge, wiping engine grease from his hands. "Captain, our weapons systems are at 60% capacity, but shields are only at 30%. If they're hostile." Olivia straightened in her chair. "We can't just let them die out there." "Ben, open a channel." She cleared her throat. "Thelian vessel, this is Captain Olivia Reeves of the Earth ship Endeavor. We will provide assistance. Prepare to be guided to our docking bay." The response was immediate, filled with what sounded like disbelief. "Earth? Humans? The sleeping giants are real." 4 hours later, the Endeavor's mess hall had been converted into a meeting room. Ambassador Nex of Phileas sat across from the human officers, his 6-fingered hands wrapped around a cup of hot tea. His green skin had a translucent quality, and his large eyes blinked vertically instead of horizontally. "We thought humans were a myth," Nex explained, his voice translated through a small device at his throat. "Stories say your kind disappeared 3 centuries ago, after seeding emergency beacons across the galaxy." "We didn't disappear," John said. "We left Earth when our climate became uninhabitable." The Endeavor was one of 12 colony ships. "What happened to the others?" Kate asked. Nex shook his head. "If they exist, we don't know. But the beacons remained, programmed to activate if certain conditions were met." "What conditions?" Olivia pressed. "Genocide. The Xorethi Empire rose 50 years ago. They believe in survival through dominance. They've destroyed 17 civilizations already." Nex's eyes dimmed with sorrow. "Thelius fell 3 days ago. I was escorting a group of our scientists when the attack came." Frank leaned forward. "Tell us about these Xorethi. What are we up against?" "Reptilian, evolved on a desert world with 3 suns. They're physically stronger than most species, with advanced weapons technology. Their warships can destroy a planet's atmosphere in hours." Nex hesitated. "There are rumors they found ancient technology that accelerated their development." On the bridge, Ben's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting a squadron of ships entering the sector. Based on Ambassador Nex's descriptions, they match Xorethi design." John stood immediately. "They must have followed the Thelian ship." "How many?" Olivia asked. 5 vessels, heavily armed. They'll reach our position in 6 hours. Kate looked up from her datapad. "Captain, I've been reviewing our weapons systems against the specs Ambassador Nex provided. The Xorethi have never encountered human technology. Our railguns and tactical nuclear capabilities might surprise them." Olivia nodded grimly. "John, wake up every military personnel we have. Frank, I want engine capacity for evasive maneuvers. Kate, keep analyzing their tech for weaknesses." She turned to Nex. "Ambassador, it seems the sleeping giants are about to introduce themselves to the galaxy's bullies." Tactical Officer Greg Martinez stood in the ship's armory, surrounded by 40 recently awakened soldiers. These men and women had once been Earth's finest military personnel, now centuries removed from their time, but with their training intact. The enemy vessels are larger than ours, Greg explained, displaying holographic images of the Xorathi ships. But size isn't everything. We have weapons they've never encountered. One of the soldiers, Sergeant Laura Klein, checked the charge on her pulse rifle. How many of them are there? 5 warships now, but their main fleet isn't far behind, Greg replied. We need to make a statement with this first encounter. In engineering, Frank worked alongside his newly awakened team. Engineer Samantha Cole had been studying the Xorathi tech specifications provided by Ambassador Nex. Their shields operate on a different frequency than ours, she said, excitement in her voice. Frank, I think we can modify our railguns to pass straight through their defenses. Frank grinned. They won't know what hit them. On the bridge, Captain Olivia watched the approaching enemy ships on the main screen. John stood beside her, arms crossed. All military personnel have been awakened and briefed, he reported. Greg has teams stationed at all weapon points. We've also awakened Dr. Alan Curtis to handle any medical emergencies. Good, Olivia said. And the Thelian refugees? Secure in the cargo bay. Ambassador Nex is helping Kate understand more about Xorathi communication protocols. Ben called from his station. Captain, we're being hailed. Audio and visual. Olivia straightened her uniform. On screen, the face that appeared was reptilian, with yellow eyes and armored scales. Admiral Krax studied the humans with obvious surprise. So the myths are true, he said, his words translated through Kate's program. The sleeping ones have awakened. How disappointing to find you so few in number. This is Captain Olivia Reeves of the Earth Ship Endeavor. You are pursuing refugees under our protection. Krax laughed, a harsh sound. Protection. Your ship is ancient. Your species is forgotten. Surrender the Thelians, and we may allow you to live as servants. We don't respond well to threats, Olivia replied calmly. But we're willing to discuss peaceful solutions. Peace is for the weak, Krax snarled. You have 1 hour to surrender the refugees, or we will destroy your vessel. The screen went dark. Olivia turned to her crew. Options. Their lead ship is in range of our modified railguns, Greg reported. Sam's modifications should let us penetrate their shields. Frank nodded. We've also prepared a surprise in Cargo Bay 3. The Xorathi don't know our ship carries terraforming explosives. We can modify them into space mines. In the science lab, Kate and Ambassador Nex had made a discovery. Captain, Kate called over the comm. The Xorathi ships communicate on a quantum frequency. If we broadcast a disruption pattern, we can temporarily block communication between their vessels. Do it, Olivia ordered. Greg, position our mines. Frank, ready the railguns. John, prepare boarding teams. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, despite having been frozen for centuries. The Endeavor, once a colony ship, was transforming into a warship. When the hour deadline passed, the Xorathi ships moved into attack formation. Admiral Krax was confident in his superior numbers and technology. Fire at will, he commanded his fleet. The Xorathi weapons charged, glowing with deadly energy. But before they could fire, the space between the ships erupted with explosions as the human mines detonated. Simultaneously, the Endeavor's railguns fired, sending hypervelocity projectiles through the temporarily disrupted Xorathi shields. The lead ship's engines exploded in a brilliant flash. On his damaged bridge, Admiral Krax stared in disbelief. Impossible, he roared as his ship's systems failed around him. Captain Olivia's voice came through on all frequencies across the sector. This is humanity's warning. The sleeping giants are awake. We stand against those who terrorize the innocent. For the first time in years, the Xorathi fleet retreated. News of the Xorathi defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Communications officer Lisa Ward monitored the transmissions flooding in from dozens of star systems. Captain, you need to hear this, she said, her fingers adjusting the controls. It's coming from everywhere. The bridge speakers filled with alien voices, all saying variations of the same message. The sleeping giants have awakened. Humanity has returned. Captain Olivia looked at her senior staff gathered on the bridge. It seems we've become a symbol. Ambassador Nex nodded. Hope is a powerful force. For years, many species whispered about the humans who might one day return. Now that you have, resistance groups are forming everywhere. In the days following the battle, the Endeavour had moved deeper into the nebula. The gas and dust provided cover while they made repairs and awakened more crew members. The cryo bay hummed with activity as Dr. Alan Curtis supervised the revival process. How many now? John asked, entering the medical bay. 217. Alan replied, checking his tablet. I'm focusing on technical specialists and medical personnel. John nodded. Good. Frank needs engineers to convert more of our equipment for combat. In engineering, Samantha Cole led a team analyzing wreckage from a damaged Xorathi fighter. The small craft had been captured during the battle. Their power cores are similar to our fusion technology, but they use an element we don't recognize, she told Frank. The good news is their computer systems are vulnerable to our cyber attacks. They never expected to encounter our methods. On the main observation deck, Kate Powell worked with scientists from 3 different alien species who had joined them from the refugee ships. Together, they mapped Xorathi territory and supply lines. Their empire expanded too quickly, a blue-skinned Athosian named Kelb explained. They control many systems but have stretched their resources thin. Kate pointed to a distant sector on the star map. What about here? This area has gone silent in your communications network. The Praxis cluster, said Miria, a survivor from Thelius. The Xorathi built something there. A superweapon, some say. No one who investigates returns. In his private quarters aboard the Xorathi flagship, Admiral Krax watched recordings of the battle with the human ship. His defeat burned like acid in his throat. A junior officer entered cautiously. Speak, Krax ordered. The humans are broadcasting, Admiral. They're calling for other species to resist us. Rebellions have broken out in 3 of our captured systems. Krax smashed his fist into the wall, leaving a dent in the metal. Find their ship. I want it destroyed, no matter the cost. There's more, Admiral. Our sensors detected additional humans awakening inside their vessel. Thousands remain in stasis. Back on the Endeavour, Captain Olivia addressed the growing group of allies in the ship's main gathering hall. 200 humans stood alongside representatives from 6 alien species. We didn't come here looking for war, she said. Our mission was to find a new home. But we cannot stand by while the Xorathi terrorize innocent worlds. Today we form the Galactic Alliance of Free Peoples. The room erupted in cheers. Greg Martinez stepped forward with tactical displays. We'll start with hit-and-run attacks. Small teams using human technology paired with your knowledge of the territory. The Xorathi expect direct confrontation because that's how they fight. We'll use guerrilla tactics instead. Lisa Ward had been working on communication devices. These quantum transmitters will let our forces coordinate across systems. The Xorathi won't be able to track or intercept the signals. As the meeting dispersed, John approached Olivia. We need to wake more of our people. This fight will take everything we have. Olivia looked out at the nebula swirling beyond the viewports. ARIA, begin revival procedures for Military Division Beta. It's time to take this fight to the enemy. Across the galaxy, the news continued to spread. The humans have returned, and the days of Xorathi terror were numbered. 3 months had passed since the first battle. The Endeavour now served as the command center for a growing rebellion. Over 2,000 humans had been awakened from cryosleep, and hundreds of alien ships had joined their cause. Greg Martinez stood before the tactical display in the war room, pointing to a flashing red dot. The Xorathi fuel depot in the Arcturus system. If we destroy it, their ships in this entire sector will be stranded. Captain Olivia studied the projected casualty numbers. Civilian presence. Minimal, Greg replied. The depot is on an airless moon. mostly automated systems with a small guard force. John Mercer entered the room with a tall, blue-skinned Athosian female. "Captain, this is Commander Vela. She led the resistance on 3 Xorathi-controlled worlds before finding us." Vela bowed slightly. "Your tactics have changed everything, Captain Reeves. The Xorathi don't know how to fight enemies who refuse to meet them head-on. We've hit 27 targets in the last month," John explained. "No major losses on our side." Olivia nodded. "Good. What's the status of Operation Lighthouse?" Kate Powell activated a different display. "We've established communication with resistance cells on 14 occupied planets. Our quantum transmitters can't be detected by Xorathi scanners. Lysa has trained operators on each world." In engineering, Frank and Samantha worked with an alien engineer named Zorax. His 4-armed body made him especially efficient at managing multiple systems. "The Xorathi fleet is adapting to our railgun technology," Zorax said, his voice translated through a small device. "They've modified their shields." Samantha smiled. "That's why we're not using railguns anymore." She gestured to the new weapons being installed on Allied ships. "These fire superheated plasma that cycles through multiple frequencies. By the time their shields adapt to one frequency, the weapon has already switched to another." Frank looked up from his work. "How are the stealth systems coming along?" "Ready for testing," Samantha replied. "If they work, John's team can infiltrate the Xorathi command ship." On his flagship, Admiral Krax met with his war council. His scales had dulled from stress, and a new scar ran across his face from a recent assassination attempt. "The humans mock us with these cowardly tactics," he hissed. "They strike and vanish before we can respond. I want their base found." "We've narrowed the search to 3 nebulas," reported Commander Vex. "But their stealth technology confounds our sensors." "What about the weapon in the Praxis cluster? Is it operational?" "Nearly, Admiral. But it requires enormous power. Using it will drain resources from our fleet for months." Krax slammed his fist down. "I don't care. The humans have humiliated us. Other species now openly defy us. I want that weapon ready in 10 cycles." Back on the Endeavor, Lisa Ward intercepted the transmission. She rushed to the bridge where Olivia was conferring with Ambassador Nex. "Captain, we've got a problem," Lisa said. "The Xorathi are activating something called the Nova Cannon in the Praxis cluster. From what I can translate, it can destroy entire star systems from a distance." Nex's face paled. The rumors were true. If they deploy such a weapon, we need to take it out before they can use it, Olivia decided. "John, assemble your best infiltration team. Gray, prepare a strike force as backup." John nodded grimly. "I'll need volunteers familiar with Xorathi systems." "I will go," Ambassador Nex said quietly. "My people have suffered enough at Xorathi hands." That night, as preparations for the mission continued, Kate found John in the observation lounge, staring at the stars. "Thinking about tomorrow?" she asked, sitting beside him. "Wondering what Earth would think of us now," he replied. "We left to build a new life, not fight a war." Kate touched his arm. "We're doing what humans have always done. Standing up for what's right, protecting those who can't protect themselves." Across the ship, Olivia recorded a message to be played if the mission failed. "To all resistance forces, whatever happens tomorrow, remember that freedom is worth fighting for. The Xorathi ruled through fear because it was all they understood. But today we teach them about courage. The fate of the galaxy would be decided at dawn." The Praxis cluster glowed an unnatural purple, energy discharges crackling between the stars. At its center, the massive Xorathi station housed the Nova Cannon, a weapon that could destroy planets from across the galaxy. John Mercer and his infiltration team approached in a captured Xorathi shuttle. Ambassador Nex sat beside him, wearing modified Xorathi armor. 4 other aliens and 3 humans completed the team. "Final check," John whispered into his communicator. "All systems dark except life support. Remember, we have 20 minutes to plant the charges before the patrol cycle restarts." The shuttle drifted toward the station's maintenance dock, appearing to be a routine supply delivery. On the Endeavour, Captain Olivia watched their progress through encrypted feeds. Greg Martinez stood ready with 24 ships hiding behind a nearby moon, waiting for the signal. Docking complete, Kate reported from her station. No alarms. Frank's voice came through the comm. Samantha's virus is uploading to their systems. We'll have access to their security grid in 3 minutes. The infiltration team moved through the station's service corridors. Ambassador Nex translated the Xorthy markings, leading them toward the weapons control center. The Nova Cannon's core hummed with terrible power, feeding on the energy of a captured neutron star. "Look at the size of that thing," whispered Ryan, one of the human soldiers. "How are 6 charges going to destroy it?" "They're not ordinary explosives," John explained. "They're quantum destabilizers. Once triggered, they'll create a cascade failure in the weapons containment field." Deeper in the station, Admiral Krax addressed his officers. "The weapon will be fully charged in 1 hour. Our first target will be the nebula where we believe the human ship hides. After that, any system that has aided them." A junior officer approached nervously. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual power fluctuations in Section 7. Krax narrowed his yellow eyes. "Security teams, full sweep of all sectors. Now." The alarm caught John's team halfway to the core. "We've been made," he said into his comm. "Moving to Plan B." Ambassador Nex pointed to a side passage. "This way. It leads directly to the power distribution hub." On the Endeavour, Olivia made a quick decision. "Greg, launch the attack. Draw their defensive forces away from the station. Lisa, signal all resistance cells. The final battle begins now." Across the galaxy, ships of a dozen different species emerged from hiding. The rebellion that had fought from the shadows now revealed its full strength, attacking Xorthy strongholds simultaneously. Inside the station, John's team reached the power hub. Xorthy guards opened fire, hitting one of the human soldiers. John returned fire, covering Nex as the ambassador placed charges on critical junction points. 5 minutes until detonation, Nex announced. "We need to reach the escape pods." Outside, Greg's attack force engaged the Xorthy fleet protecting the station. The new plasma weapons cut through enemy shields, evening the odds against superior numbers. "Captain," Kate called out, "I've lost contact with John's team." Olivia gripped her chair tightly. "Keep trying." On the station, John and Nex were the only survivors of their team, fighting their way toward the escape pods. They rounded a corner and came face to face with Admiral Krax and his guards. "The human," Krax snarled. "I should have known." John raised his weapon. "It's over, Krax. Your weapon is about to be destroyed. Even if you succeed today, human, the Xorthy Empire spans hundreds of worlds. We will rebuild." "Not this time," John replied. "While you focused on us, resistance forces are taking back their planets. Your reign of terror ends today." The charges detonated, shaking the entire station. Alarms blared as systems failed. John grabbed Nex and dove through a closing emergency door as explosions cascaded through the structure. They reached an escape pod with seconds to spare, launching away as the station began to break apart. The Nova Cannon's core collapsed, creating a blinding flash that engulfed Krax and his flagship. From the bridge of the Endeavour, Olivia watched the station's destruction with mixed emotions. "Send rescue ships for survivors," she ordered. "Even Xorthy deserve mercy." 1 month later, representatives from 27 species gathered on the Endeavour. The Xorthy Empire had fractured, with many worlds embracing peace. Ambassador Nex approached Captain Olivia. "The Galactic Council is reformed," he said. "They wish humanity to take a leadership role." Olivia smiled. "We didn't wake up to rule the galaxy, but to find a new home. Perhaps we found something better. New friends and a galaxy at peace." The sleeping giants had awakened, and the universe would never be the same.